building a smart city in the middle of the desert from the ground up. That's what Daphne LaPrance-Roguet here for ZDNet has been writing about. A really great story you put together here. In fact, a long feature article, Daphne. This sounds like a really cool, at least from the onset here, a really cool concept.
Yeah, definitely, and one that's quite hard to summarize very quickly. But as you said, it's a city that's being built up in the desert in Saudi Arabia. It's called the Line because it will be built as a line made of different communities of about 8,000 people living in each community, all linked by a high transportation system. And the line will expand over 170 kilometers in the desert. So it's a very ambitious project. Very futuristic when you hear the designers and the architects behind it talking about it. There are several sort of sustainability goals. The idea is to build a pleasant urban experience with no cars, no roads, autonomous shuttles sort of working their way through those piazzas and just sort of amazing looking designs for a city of the future, really. So that's what the line is, really, though, those communities that will all be connected. The idea is that you should be within 5-minute walk of all your essential services, never further than a 20-minute ride from the furthest community. And underpinning all of this, obviously, like any smart city, is a heavy use of technology. So the line will have an operating system called NEOS, and NEOS will be making use of lots and lots of data sprinkled all over the line in the form of IoT sensors, for example, and NEOS will be aggregating all this data in a central platform to carry out operations that we know smart cities do already in other big cities around the world. So, for example, using AI for predictive maintenance and things like that. What the designers behind the line say is that NEOS will be using 90% of available data, where cities at the moment only make use of 1%. So again, a very ambitious target, and one that sort of catches your attention because it's not only going to be data about sort of inanimate anonymous objects like IoT sensors, it's also going to be citizens' data. So what the line wants to do is to, with citizens' consent, of course, gather data from your smartphone, from sort of your mobility, what you're doing, and thanks to that data, deliver a hyper-customized experience, very personalized, tailored to your own needs, so that in a way the line knows what you want before you want it and delivers it before you've even had time to sort of express it with your own words. To give you a quick example, if you're coming out of the line, if you're coming out of the transportation system after having flown in, the line would already know your hotel, it would already know where you're going, what your room number is, it would arrange an autonomous shuttle to reroute in order to be able to take you directly from the transit station to your hotel, and in that way give you that customized experience that you wouldn't have in another city. So that, in a few words, is what the line is. A futuristic city, as I said, straight out of a science fiction movie, really, and behind it, an aggressive use of technology.
And that's like I mentioned at the beginning, it does sound really cool, but when you really peel back the layers and you know, the amount of data being used, the amount of information, your own personal information that will be out there, I mean, that I'm sure will make some people, you know, really concerned and turned off by this. So what are the chances that people are actually going to go for it?
Definitely. So as you say, it comes close to surveillance operations, really, when we think about it. And it's not the first time that a project like this is proposed. When we look at other smart cities around the world, one that is very famous that has made headlines a few times is Google spin-off Sidewalk Labs project in Toronto, which consisted of trying to modernize the quayside in Toronto and transform it into a smart city, similarly using a host of data in order to deliver this urban experience to the residents and citizens of Toronto. What happened is that it caused so much discontent, so much controversy, that the project was eventually abandoned for economic purposes as well, for economic reasons, sorry, as well, but also partly because of this controversy that it had caused. If we look at New York, there was a project called the Hudson Yards as well, also meant to deliver this sort of hyper-customized experience to the citizens, making use of their data with their consent in order to deliver this hyper-tailored experience to citizens' needs. So it all seems to sort of follow this consumer-oriented almost model for a smart city, and in some cases this has not led to the public's acceptance, and it has led to these projects being abandoned in the end, or leading to these projects not succeeding is in the way that they had thought. For example, Hudson Yards is still to be completed, and it hasn't attracted as many residents as it initially hoped for. But on the other hand, we can see that, especially with COVID-19, for example, the COVID-19 pandemic, people are growing more and more accustomed to these tools. And we can imagine that there will be a generation or certain people that will see the appeal of having this value in the city experience, of having this customized experience when walking around a city. So it's definitely not worth saying that the line will not succeed because people are wary of it, because it's definitely possible that some people will find the concept appealing and will want that experience. So I've talked to several experts about this, and a lot of them were keen to say the line will definitely not be unsuccessful. There will be people who want to go there. It's just a matter of seeing how many and in how long.
Well, and I get that would lead me to my next question then is this what we can expect, the smart city of the future to look like? Or is there a more scaled back version possibly with it doesn't seem like they're intruding on your personal space quite as much?
So as I said, yes, it's a very consumer-oriented model of a smart city in which it's more about the individual and delivering a customized experience for the individual. Now, that's one model of a smart city. It's been followed by other smart cities in the world, notably Masdar City, which was built up in the desert as well in the United Emirates. But that's not the only model of a smart city. There are other smart cities around the world where the model is a bit less focused on the individual and more focused on delivering civic services and public services, really. If we look at Barcelona, for example, it's an example of a smart city where they've created an open data ecosystem that is supposed to be citizen-owned, that relies on anonymous data, that is in no means meant to deliver a customized service for the individual, but rather meant to improve public services in general for the community. So those are sort of the two models of a smart city that we're evolving towards. They might evolve in parallel. There might not be a winner and a loser, but only time will tell really which one becomes more prominent and whether one succeeds more than the other.
Very interesting. Well, certainly this will be something we'll be talking about for a long time, Daphne.
Yeah.
Yeah, much follow up here. All right, Daphne Laprange-Ranguet, of course, with ZDNet. Thanks so much for that. You can check out her full feature article on the site there at ZDNet. Thanks for watching.